Hi and welcome. Today I'm here with story time number 4. And today it's about my driver's license and the year 2008. They do combine, so it's good to talk about them in the same video. I have had to fight for most of things in my life, and I'm so tired of it. And my driver's license was one thing, and I think I did mention this about when I did talk about my weight, and also when I got ME, that I had symptoms from when I was 15 that I gained weight. Also that I did started to see double. Maybe I didn't say that, but maybe I told this something with my eyes. That happened when I was 15, and I noticed the first time when we had physical activity in school, and we were walking outside on the path, like the exercise path in the forest, and I could see you have the path that is like sheep wood, and then you have the grass wood line, and I felt like it was like gliding apart like this. Like, that's strange, I guess I didn't think about it, but then again I did notice it more and more and more. So I had to tell my mother, and we did go to the optiker to check if I needed glasses. So we did that. But they told me that I have to go to an eye doctor at the hospital because they can't fix this. It's like, okay, that's not fun. So we did apply to the doctor. It takes, here you can wait like 3 months for a spot. And then we did go there, and they say that I do have squinting on both eyes. Like my eyes, your pupils should always follow each other, and always be still, and just do like this all the time. But mine are not working together, and they're like in water, so they're like floating around and trying to keep still and focus. So you get like that. So most things get like a double line, side line, not like this double, but and like going in like that. And here in Sweden we do take our driver's license, or we can take our driver's license when we're 18, but when we are 16 we are allowed to start driving with a parent or an adult, just to, because the most important with drive cars is to be able to do everything at once, because you have to, because here also we do drive mostly manual cars. So when you're driving you do a lot of things, and you have to keep eye on the road and the side of the road, and you have to do the gear and the clutch and everything. You do like 6-7 things at the same time, and it takes time. It has to be a muscle memory. Just you have to get used to it. And here in Sweden we also get dark and cold and ice, slippery, so you have more stages to learn to control the car. So that's why you are allowed to drive from 16 with a parent, so you get used to everything, because they want you to have the driver's license, but you need to also practice for it. So here in Sweden, so then when 16 you're allowed to drive with an adult that has a driver's license, and have to have it for like at least 5 years. And then they told me that this eye problem, I will not be allowed to take my driver's license. Like, I was I was just 15, 16 when they told me this. I was like, what? Yeah, like at all. I was like, okay. That was not something I wanted to hear when I'm just turning almost 16 and can't drive with a parent, So that's a big shock that it was that serious, that I can't even, and I was not even allowed to start to test drive in case it gets better. Like, nope, no car driving at all. And that was like a big punch in the face and in my heart, like, what? I was like, okay, but it's like 2-3 years until I'm 18, and you don't have to take the driver's license when you're 18. You can wait till you're 20. Maybe you have to have money or education. you don't have to take it when you're 18. You take it when you can and want to, you know. So I was like, okay, no stress, you know. It's like 2-3 years away. It's okay. Focus on now. So I didn't need special. So I did need glasses, but special glasses that they did give on subscription. And luckily, back then they were very expensive. So it's part of the sick insurance. So they pay for them. And in the beginning, I couldn't make them work on to look far ahead and close. But since I was in school, I felt like it's more important to have close, so I can watch TV, work on the computer, and read and write and see good. And still, you know, when you're looking, you know, far, you don't focus as much, because I can't keep it like together for like that short time when you look, you know. So, because you know, focus is mostly closer. There was nothing wrong with my eyesight. It was perfect. It's just the muscles were not like working together no more. So in the beginning, like I said, I had to focus on the glasses on to be able to see close up. But I did have to change glasses a lot. I think like the first like 3 years I have to change it almost maybe often than 1 time a year. And I feel like that was a good thing, that my eyes were responding to it, you know, because I have to like change it to the better, or like first they maybe worked on the people this way, then this way, then this way, so I have to like, they have like different patterns in the glasses, like a prism glasses shape. But you can see them in the glasses like diagonal or straight or like different ways. So in the end I had to put this silicone prism on the glass, because I didn't have to pay for new glasses that often. Because then I can use this silicone cover on the side, and I can change that instead until it gets more stable, so I can have the same glasses for longer. I felt like that was a good thing, that my eyes were responding to it, you know. But they did tell me that it's like 50%, 50-50 that you can take your driver's license. Your eyes can get better. So that's why I think I forgot to mention that. They told me that it's like 50-50. You can get better or not. So like, but it's like 50-50. That's why I felt like, okay, it's 2 years ahead at least, so you know, I can just keep going. And you know, also at this time I also got ME and started to sleep and was just like chaos. But you know, I was like, keep going, just give me more to fight. I'm okay. Yeah, so like I said, that's why I felt like, okay, it's just, you know, I don't have to drive with a parent when I'm 16. I can do that when I'm 18 and then just take my driver's license later. Because you know, it's like 50-50, there's a big chance, you know, that it will get better. And like I said, when I had to change the glasses so often, or the glass, and then we did it with the silicone forms to just, so I don't have to pay for them. Well, still, I have to pay, I think, for the frames, but not the glass. But when I only needed the prism for like 6 months and then I have to change it again, it will become very expensive and have, you know, it's also wasteful. But they told me that one time you should have the same glasses for maybe 1-2 years. So you have to wait for that to happen. Then I think around 18 we did check if I can take my driver's license, and they said no, I was not approved yet, my eyes had not become better. But they told me that it can still change, it's still 50-50. I was like, okay, you know, I just keep going. I was like, okay, then it does. But then they told me that I had options. I think first they checked into if I could do surgery to fix my eyes. You know, this time for me was very stressful, because you know, I got ME and I crashed and slept and it was just like chaotic. So it's not, I'm just telling you the way I remember it, but it can be different years. But it should be like in this order, I feel like, somehow. They looked if I could do surgery, so I did go to Uppsala to the eye specialist, but they said no, sorry, because I have the most difficult squinting of them all. But it's good to have the most difficult, like if you want to have something, why don't have the easiest way, have the most difficult one. I said okay, I'm fine, you know, okay. But then they told me that I could cover one eye, then I can drive. I was like, what? How can two perfectly eyesight be worse than having one eye? Because what I understood with this, that I can't see the 90 angle. I couldn't see the 90 angle this way. When it still looks that way, then you should see 90 degrees like this, or what you call it, I think. I feel like that I read now that they will take that away from the driver's license. Or they're talking about it, because it's only Sweden and like 2 more countries who has that, or have that rule. Because I feel like this, like, if you see something coming out here, it's still so difficult to have time to brake, because there's just like 1 second still. If it's a moose or something that runs fast, seeing them here will not give you many seconds, you know. And you know, I was horseback riding. I had, you know, traffic sense already. You know, I was always looking after. You know, horses can be spooked by moose and animals in the forest. I was also looking, so I was very used to it. You know, so I feel like it's very stupid. Like still, you know, it's not gonna save you that much time if you see something coming here, because they're just like here, you know. But it's a rule, you know, so you have to follow it. And then, like I said, they told me that I can cover one eye. I was like, no, like it's a healthy eye, and I think it's my left eye that I should cover. But you know, if I should have a patch over my left eye that works, that would be very difficult, you know, and very annoying to also have a patch here, you know. I said no, I will take the bus, you know. I said no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna sacrifice one good eye just for this small thing, you know. So I was just like, but then also I feel like after all this time, and I was struggling with Emmy, and I was seeing doctors here and asking for help, and nobody could help me. I think I got sick of, like, I was like, no, I'm not gonna talk to a doctor for like 1-2 years. I got like, nope, no more doctors. So I did have still the silicone thing on one of my glasses. I kept them like that for like almost 2 years. But then I was talking about studying again. I had to fix my diploma from the high school. I still didn't have that full one, or a completed one. And since I'm in the unemployment agency, they told me you should have this, because then you will have higher unemployment benefits. And you will get more help if you have this, or if you have the high school diploma. I think that's why I understood that I have to have new glasses, because they, you know, still have that silicone thing. It's not that good, and I noticed that I needed new glasses. That, you know, they had changed, because it's been like over 1 year, maybe more. Yeah, so I did. Then, but then, you know, when I needed new glasses, I have to go first to the eye doctor and check everything, and then all that. So I think this must have been around 2007, 2006, 2007 when I did go back to the eye doctor because I knew if I'm gonna study, I need new glasses, and you know, pretty glasses, because they were very old. They started to look very, you know, damaged, or wear and tear, you call it. So. And then somehow I did have them, and then somehow during 2007, like beginning of 2007, I think, we did check, because it's been like, you know, I was 18 now, and now I think I was 18 in 2004, right? Or 4. And now it was 2007, it's been like, you know, 2-3 years since then. So they checked my eyes again, and they approved me for my driver's license. I was like, what? Are you sure? Like, what? Yeah. you can take the driver's license now. Your eyes are better. And I was so surprised, you know, but also happy, like, what, are you sure? Like, my eyes had got better, you know, but it's been like 6 years, 5-6 years since they told me no. I was okay, I was like, what? So then I did look into money and to do it, so my mom and my brother did go to the class, and then I was allowed to drive with them. So I did that at the beginning of 2007, but I felt like it's better I start also to go to the driving school. So I did start at the driving school, I think about August or September 2007. So I did start the driving lessons in September, I think. But I think I started in the school in August, but I started to just to do the reading, because it is one written test and one driving test when you take your driver's license. Also at this time I did decide to go back to school in the beginning of 2008. So I was gonna start at school January 2008. So I was starting to fix things, you know, things was going good and rolling good finally. But I still had ME, I still had this fight, you know, but I knew how to balance my body. You know, rest 2 days, up 1 day, rest 2 days, up 1 day, and get things done. And it worked. So back then, you know, this is like 20 years ago soon, and back then you could take the written test 6 months before the driving test. But I don't know how this now, but I know that like 10 years ago it was like you have to do it in the same day. I feel like that's too stressful, you know, because it's like, you know, I think that's bad. I don't know how it is today. I feel like back then it was good that you can do that. So I planned that I did the written test in January before the school, like, or just like the school started, so I didn't have to read double things, you know, to make it better for me. So when my school started, the written test should be over, and then I can focus on, because, you know, the driving is still the most important, because you have to know the car, to handle the car. So I did take the written test in January and I passed. I was like, oh, thank you, because then I can focus on my school. So that was good. And so now we are in 2008, and you know, this year is part of my driver's license, is my story, and also did get to be the worst year. And I didn't think, you know, it could be worse than high school. And you know, I was finally getting back on my feet. So I was starting, like, you know, to get things. Finally, it was starting to roll. My illness was still a balance, better than in high school. And I just started school. I did have a internship at a kindergarten at one course, and then I did have to read Swedish and math, I think, the first, from January to June, I think. No, everything got so messed up because, like I said, 2008 got so bad. So I can't remember, but I think it was like that. I had to take Swedish and I think math or something. But the rest I had just like whatever. But then you can do the intern learning instead. And I feel like I'm better to read and learn at the same time. So I felt like the intern thing would be better than to have to read like 5-6 classes. Now I could read 2 that I had to have for my degree, you call it, my diploma. And then the rest was at I did go to my aunt's kindergarten because she lives as my neighbor, so I could go. I would follow her hours, so I could go with her, because I still was taking my driver's license, so I couldn't drive myself. But since she's my neighbor, I can just go with her, you know. So I fixed that. So I was feeling good, you know, and you know, I was taking my driver's license. I had passed the written test. I was starting to study, going to school, and end of January my horse get very sick. I was like, what? No, please, you know. By this time she was 20 years old. I had her since she was 12. I did get her in year 2000. So now she was 20 years old when she got sick in middle of the winter. And we had to decide what to do. And this illness is chronic. It will come back in like flare-ups. And then she can't walk. She'll have so much like inflammation in their feet and nervous system. So I had to decide that she was to be put down to sleep. They forever sleep. And like, are you kidding me? Like, not now. Like, not now. What? Can't you just wait one more year, you know? No. So, but I decided to keep going. I didn't want to stop studying or the driver's license. I was like, I'm just gonna, I know how to do this. I decided, so she was put down to sleep in March, end of March 2008. But then in February, I had my great grandma. She turned 95 in February 2008. In February of 2008, and late February, she gets sick, ill. I was like, come on, you know, no, like. My horse was my special thing that kept me going, you know, kept me, you know, and great grandma was also my thing. Like, she was my safety person, my happy person, you know. She was my supportive person, you know. And she lived in town. So, you know, every time I was going clubbing or to the movies, or also now when I was taking driver's lessons, I would stay at her place because she lived in the middle of the town, so I could walk everywhere. So I could spend 2-3 days, nights at her place a week back then, you know, and I was her like second great grandchild and a girl, so, you know, so I was very special to her, you know, and since my mother also was a single mother for many years. I was with my great-grandpa and great-grandma so much. I spent so much time there after school. They always picked me up after kindergarten and after school. So I didn't have to be there after like the aftercare hours after school and late at the kindergarten. So I was always there because, you know, my mom could work to like 5 p.m. because you can be at the kindergarten to 6 p.m. from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But then my great-grandma would pick me up at like 2 p.m. instead. So I was with my great grandma so much after school and first kindergarten. So 2 months into the year of 2008, it just like went black for me. Like, please not now. I'm finally trying to fix things, you know. First, my driver's license was not allowed to take for like 6 years. And my school years, 4 years, were horrible. Like, can't I be allowed to study and like thrive and learn and you know, do it good, you know? But I did decide to keep going with my studying because I felt like I can't stop now. You know, I will see it through, try to. So my horse passed away on end of March. That was horrible. I had one of my friends with me. Yeah, so that was hard. My great grandma, she did fight, or she was dying of old age. So you just have to wait for the body to shut down, and that takes time. So I did continue the school, and she was still, you know, she was 95, but her head was clear and all that. So she was just like getting slower and slower and slower. So we could still be with her, I think, in March. Then in April, I think she started to be more at the hospital. And then she was, sometimes late April, May, she was going into the, I think it's called hospice, you know, when they're at the end. I didn't see her at the end because I didn't want to do that, because I did see my grandpa, my dad's dad, when he passed away. I did see him very late, and I don't want to remember my great grandma like that, because I have a photographic memory. So I know that if I, that is what I'm gonna see. So I wanted to see her the last time at home, at her place. That would be my last memory of her. I wanted to keep that way. And I also did keep going with my driver's license, because I felt like still I had done everything. I was like doing so well. Because the driving lessons have their like purpose. This time you're gonna learn this and practice like this, like driving on and off the highway, different things. They had you practice to back around a corner. You did that. So they have a purpose, So I was making everything click, click, click. I could box them off. And the last things are you are doing drive-bys. So you're two cars, driving lessons cars, and then you go together and you practice to drive by them or each other for the whole day. Because there's also a thing to practice, to accelerate and pass and come back in. And then you have to go to the ice slippery track. It's not a test, it's just to make you get used to slippery days and nights. Because I did this in April, they have it that day. I think they put like soap on the road so it mimics the ice. But this was in spring, so there was no ice no more. But I did take most of my driving lessons during the winter months, so I did already have experience, since I did take them back then. But then you still have to go to this practice track to practice, because you have to learn how to control the car. But still, every time it's different. If you get in that situation, you just have to try. It's not always you can do anything about it. But just to feel the car, so you don't get panicked. You remember what you were taught. I had been in 2 slippery accidents when the car just loses the grip and it just spins. So it's very scary, and that will happen. It's not that you're bad at driving; it just happens. But now, with the newer car, they have anti-spin and anti-slide, so you don't let it easy go. But back then, 20 years ago, most cars didn't have that. And when you're younger, back then, the cheaper car were the older car, and they didn't have that at all. So I feel like now there are less accidents because of those anti-spin and anti-slides. But I was driving an old car and it did that. But I did remember what to do in that case, and try your best, because that's the only thing you can do. Because that, is a practice. When you go to that, it's not a test. I think you can fail it, but it's very difficult. I think there are people who have failed it, but it's very difficult because it's only to practice and have the feeling of it, so you know, or try to know what to do. Because getting, slide and thing is not bad driving. It just happens when it's slippery, and all the cars. But things like, and also if you have like a 4-wheel car, or you can put in 4-wheeled during the winter, that is not as common that you get a slide or a slid off, or what you call it in English, I don't know. So then I had done that, and after that you can book the driving test. So I did book my driving test on May 22nd of 2008. And if you know me, my birthday is on May 23rd. So I did book the driving test the day before my birthday. no pressure at all. But you book that like 1 month ahead or something like that, so you can prepare for it with your driving teacher. And on May 17, my great-grandma passed away of old age. So 5 days before my driving test. That was like, okay. But I felt like I wanted to do it because I had prepared myself so much. I was like filled up with all the preparations and information, And I told you that after you've done and passed the written test, you have 6 months to take the driving test. And you can take it 3 times, the driving test, and fail. Then you have to do the written test again. And I booked my driving test in May because I had to end of June to pass my driving test. So I can book 2 more tests if I fail the first one. That's why I wanted to do it, because then I have to start, because I don't want to do the written test again, because I feel more pressure again to start over. So I just felt like, my great-grandma, she was 95, it was natural, she was my person. She didn't want me to lose my big dream, like something I have worked on for 6 years, it's finally here. She didn't want me to feel sad, when it's something I've been waiting for. She was like, come on, you can do it. So it's like, I have to do this for her, to show her, like, finally, On the driving test day, they have booked many driving tests. Like the whole day I feel like they do that. And I was the last one on my car. I feel like they have maybe 3 different tests. They call it the people who the ones who do the test with you. But it's not your driving teacher, it's from the road agency things. They come. So I think they have 2 of them taking the driving test all day. 2 or 3 cars. So I was the last one on my car. So I was waiting for them, the old one, to change places. So I was sitting in the car, and I was just thinking that I was like imagining my grandma and my grandpa that passed away in '94. She was a widow for like 15 years. They were finally together, and I was thinking that they were sitting behind me in the car. I was like, come on, And I just did think in me like, great-grandma, I'm gonna take my driver's license, let's go. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take my driver's license. And I was just thinking that, and she wanted me to do this finally. Just before I was starting the car to go to take the test, I was just looking myself in the mirror and imagining my great-grandma back in the back seat. And I was told my grandma, great-grandma, I'm gonna take my driver's license, let's go. Come on, I'm gonna do this, I've been waiting, I'm gonna do this. And I did it. I did take my driver's license. But I have learned now, I think it was good that I did it so close to after her passing away, because I was probably still in denial and shock still, because it was so new. And she had been away at the hospital and hospice for over a month or more. So we had time to grieve, because we knew from late February that she was passing. Just didn't know how long it will take her. So I feel like that's why it was so easier. And also that I did turn it around. She didn't want me to lose something where it's natural. She was 95. That's it was her time. Sadly, it was her time. And like I said, she was old and she didn't want me to lose anything because of her, because she had lived, and I have to continue to live for her. So I did take my driver's license. The school was getting behind, maybe because the driving was my main focus more, because it coming so close to my driving tests. But I did still go, and I did still okay. But I had one more test that I had to get, and that I had a pass on it. And that was this time I was really pushed to my limits, and that was my great grandma's funeral was, I think, on like June 3rd or something, June 4th. It was like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, but the same morning at like 8 a.m. I had to go in to take the Swedish tests. And like same morning as the funeral, I have to go and take my last test. And if I pass the score, I'm done with the whole course. If I don't, I have to do it again in the fall. So I was like, okay, and I passed. I fixed the Swedish class. It was done. I was like, good. But then, you know, came summer, the summer break, the school break for summer, and that was really hard. You know, I probably was still in shock. You know, the first summer without my horse after 8 years of summer. My first ever summer without my great grandma after like 23 years, you know. So it was very strange, you know, very strange. And yeah, then fall came. I did go back to school. Now I only had the kindergarten internship practice. You get your diploma, your points from doing it and testing something. But then came November and I started to like, it just turned black. And like, you know, all this came, you know, because you have to take time to grieve and all that. But when you don't have time, you have to push, but it will come back. I just feel like I cannot do anything anymore. Like, I'm done. Like, I cannot do it. Like, I push myself so much, but now it's empty. So they told me that to take all of December off. That they will, like, now they helped me. Like, this time school really helped me. But also because my pain and hard time came from grief, that they could see why, you know. In high school, when I got sick, they couldn't see why. Just me telling them, and they didn't understand why. But now they really like, okay, you're double grief at the same time. That is hard. And you have your illness. And they also understand that I have an illness. That is also more difficult for me. That makes it more difficult. So they told me that they will extend my school time into January and February also if I need to. Because I had fixed the steps in that one too. So I only had like 2 steps left to pass. And I feel like sometimes I feel it's bad when they only like, you get 1 year, like you always have to have more time. Like, you know, things can happen. You can get very ill, and you know, things can happen. You have to have more than 1 year on things. I think they know that now. You have to have more time. 1 year is too short sometimes. So I did get the whole December off, and I did go and spend Christmas in Italy with my family on my dad's side, my brother, my dad, my grandma. We were like, I think we were like 12 people going to Italy together. And I wasn't going first because I didn't have the money, but my great grandma left some money for her, for my grandma, so she gave some to me, so I could, for the trip, so I could go. They knew I needed that. I know that they understood that I needed to go away and heal, because I had done a lot. I get emotional because it's hard. You know, pain will always be with you because you were strong and your body remember how awful it was. I feel like my grandma, she understood that I had been through a lot, and that she knew that my great grandma would have wanted me to have some of the money so I could cover the trip. Yeah, you know, I'm lucky that I have so much family on my dad's side and my mom's side. You know, my dad lived in Stockholm for many years. I was there a lot during this period, like the summer, I think 2008, I did go to Stockholm just to like go away. I think that's why I'm also still here today, because I have my family, my relatives, you know, they are always supporting me, and they can see that I'm trying hard, you know. I had so many challenges in my life. So I was in Italy over Christmas. We stayed on the island Ischia. I booked a hotel with my cousin and my aunt. There were also like 15-20 people, and we were like 12 from Sweden. We all had booked a hotel. And it was like, that was really, healing thing. Because they had, it was like a 4-star hotel, imagine 4-star hotel, Italian food, pasta, like, oh, it was heaven, and everything was paid. We had booked like all inclusive, all the meals, everything, and they had and the pool has, my cousins live in Napoli, and the island is out in the bay, and they have volcanic activity, so they have warm water down under the sea level. So the island is on, on a big rock, so they can take up warm. They have a hot, warm. What do you call it? There's a beach where it comes out warm water from the mountain, and the hotel can take up that water to the pool. So the pool outside had, and they changed the water I think on like Mondays and like Monday or Tuesdays. So the water is like, I think it was like over 30 degrees Celsius and salt water. I'm sensitive to chlorine in pools, so that was heavenly. They had an indoor pool. I think that one they did take also the warm water, but they also had chlorine because it was indoor. But and maybe they didn't change it that often, but the outside pool they changed every week, and that was really nice. And for us who's coming from Sweden, in December in Italy it's like maybe 18-17 degrees, during the day, sometimes 12. But that is for us like our early spring, summer, because they have 18-19 degrees of sunshine. We're coming from Sweden where it's like maybe 10 below zero and snow. So for us it's like heaven, a big difference to do in December. I think that December was very mild here in Sweden, but it's still cold. So it's a big difference. So for us it's like, oh my god, I can be outside in the sunshine. That was really good for me to do. And be with my family, just enjoying my time, just eating. Most things were already paid for. So then in January I did go back to the kindergarten and I did finish my diploma, so I did have everything done. But then being there in like February of being there in February of 2009, like just 1 year, like my horse is gone, my great grandma is gone, I have my driver's license, I have my school diploma completed, but what a year, like why, It was so hard. But I also now, when I've been thinking about this and realizing that it was good that I did continue with everything, because I did get something. I did do it, because I feel like if I had just stopped with school and stopped with the driver's license, I might never have gone back again. Maybe I become too sad, because this still made me keep going. But I will never know. I could have just started again in January of 2009 and still made it. But I feel also after 1 year, I feel like the grief will be harder, because you will, because it will become more real, Because in the beginning you're mostly in shock and in denial, like I am now with my cat, that now it's been like 2 months, and now it's like I feel it more now, because our nervous system, our brains are used to that, feeling exchange, that dopamine exchange, and like you get like a withdrawal, because your body's like, what, I'm not getting that, safetyness and interactions from someone that you love, and especially my grandma and my horse, you know, were my strength when I was in school and had a hard time. They were like my thing that kept me going. And now I was like, but what I'm gonna do now? you know, I was like, yeah. So it was an awful year, but it was also a good year. But I couldn't be happy for my. I remember that with my driver's license. You know, when I was the last one. Then you drive to the road agency, like you call it, and you drop the person off, the take a test with you, and then a driving teacher have to come in case you didn't make it and drive the car back, because I did use the driving school car, but they come because they don't know, you know, before they know. So, and when you get your driver's license, and when you get your driver's license, you get a paper with everything, but then you have to take a photo and make the card. That can take a month or so. But I feel like that paper, like, is okay for like 6 months. So I got the paper and I put it in my wallet, like it's safe now. Like I have you, it's safe. But I wasn't happy, because when your like happy center and your pain center are like at the same place. So to feel happiness, you have to open also for sadness, and I was so sad. I was heartbroken, and then you can't even be happy, because then you open to everything. So I was like, okay, you're here, I'm safe. Like, okay, good, you're here. And then so the driving teacher came. He was like, you know, I looked sad probably, you know, because I was sad. He was like, you didn't make it? Yeah, I did. Oh, I'm so happy for you. I was like, thank you. I couldn't be happy, because I just like, I can't, you know, I can't feel things right now. So then I did take the car back to the driving school, and I knew, like, you know, since there were a day of tests, there were a lot of people there waiting for me to come back, to celebrate me or be sad with me, you know. But I just had the paper in my bag, and I left the car key, and they were like, you didn't make it? I said, yes, I did. You did? I went, yeah. I like paper, look, then back. I was just like, they're like, oh, you're so happy for you, congratulations. I was like, thank you, goodbye. Then I just left, because I can't, you know, celebrate. I just like, I have to like, yeah, I made it, you know. So then my friend picked me up, and we had lunch together by the sea. So that was story time, my driver's license, and the year 2008. That was really challenging. And I thought that would be my most difficult year ever. And I didn't know that I would still have to fight for 20 more years. And I'm still fighting, but in the different ways. But I was challenged again. But I think that is my #1 year that was difficult, because that was really hard. Yeah, the year 2008 was really difficult, but the year 2020 to 2023 were really harder, and that really broke me down. It really did break me. So maybe because it was like 4 years, not only 1 year that I had to really fight. So today I'm happy that I did stand up and did it, because I didn't know if I would be able to be back and try again during 2009, or if I'd really do better. I didn't know that, so I did continue, and I did make it. So, and now today I can really celebrate my driver's license. I'm so happy that I did have it. But you know, now instead I can't even, it's difficult for me to have a car. So now it's like I have my driver's license, but I don't have a car. My income is very low, so it's difficult for me. It's like, it's easier to get the car, like to save and buy the car. But for me, I would probably buy an older car. They will need to be fixed, maybe for 500 euro, or maybe 100 euro each year. So it's to keep it up, you know, keep going. The insurance is okay and gas is still okay, but you know, it's if it breaks down, that is the harder thing to keep up with my low income. So you see, I'm still like, you know, I'm still struggling, you know. Yeah, now I have my driver's license, but don't have a car. Like, when will it ever be balanced for me? I don't know. Since my life, it will never be balanced. Like I always have something, but then I can't have something else. So we'll see what the future brings. I think I will do the Storytime 5 about my breakdowns in 2020 to talk about that. Because it's good to talk about and show that people suffer and have difficult times, but sometimes you have to, like, the sad thing is that you can't get stronger without more pain and more harder things, sadly. So I don't want more hard things now. Now I want things to more be a balance, I hope. I hope I can have balance. But I have not had that for a long time, or ever almost, still. Thank you so much for watching. Hope I see you next time. Bye!